The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Hello folks, welcome back to Rutland for the first time in quite a while. It's been a bit of a time since we were last in this small county of the East Midlands, but I'm going to be doing 6 villages while I'm here today, which you're going to see over the next 3 weekends, and it's going to be a gorgeous day as well today. That's why the hat and the glasses are on. There's blue sky all around me. It's going to look fantastic. Let's get going. This is Egleton. Egleton, Ekwolf's Farm. Welcome back to Rutland again, everyone. For the next 3 weekends, we'll be ticking off another lot of villages in this tiny county, a total of 6 of them, all just to the southwest of Rutland Water. First up, we have one that touches the reservoir. We're in Egleton today. Egleton is often described as a picturesque little village, and it's not wrong. Lying within walking distance of Rutland Water's shoreline, Egleton is well known to a lot of people, particularly those who like to walk or cycle around the reservoir. It's on the path that circumnavigates it after all. It's known for 2 things primarily. They would be the striking church of St Edmund with its tall spire, Norman carvings and scratch tiles, and the Anglian Water Birdwatching Centre. The latter was set up in 1975 as part of a huge nature reserve at this end of Rutland Water. That attracts people from all over the world who come to see the wildlife in the 9-mile-long reserve, the man-made lagoons, the meadows and the plantation woodlands. Others come to see the church, whose Grade 1 listed status is well justified. Egleton is a small village with a population that doesn't breach 100. As such, it's often combined for stats and admin with Burley on the other side of Oakham. Its ties with Burley go back a long way. In fact, until 1948, both villages were associated with the Finch family. They owned most of Egleton, and a lot of the surviving buildings from their time are now Grade 2 listed cottages, well loved and respected by their owners. There's a lot of retired folk here, and to be honest, Egleton is a great place to be for that. Let's have a look at the map and see why. So this was Egleton in 1900, and essentially it looks pretty much the same now, apart from one massive difference. The main nucleus of settlement hasn't changed. Egleton is a clustered village made up of farms, farmhouses and tenements, all to the south of a church. It used to be very agriculturally minded. Indeed, look to the edges of this map and all you can see are fields. That's not the case anymore. In the 1970s, things changed greatly. When the Gwash Valley was flooded to form Rutland Water, all this farmland to the east of the village disappeared under the waves of the brand new reservoir. Although now no longer farmland, the area is still well used by people, except now it's by folks who like a bit of bird watching. Let's get started by having a look at the northern end of the village. As you can see, there are 2 landmarks here that jump out at you above all others. They would be the Church of St Edmund and the small school which sits close to its grounds. They are still both here, so let's see what they look like today. St Edmund's Church is said to be a building of many mysteries. It gets a lot of visitors, this one, owing to the fact it's on the cycle path that surrounds Rutland Water. Open every day, this has been a focus of prayer and worship for nearly 1,000 years. The history and longevity of the building can be seen in the various carvings and arches inside it. The entrance to it is crowned by a Norman tympanum with a series of enigmatic carvings including a winged dragon, a lion and other beasts. Immediately inside is a square Norman font decorated with a cavalry cross and geometric patterns. In the roof are a series of corbels, all of which are carved creatures except for one human face. It has a 15th century rood screen and some 16th century bench ends with carved poppy heads displaying Tudor roses. The arms of George III can be seen in a wall painting above the chancel arch. On the outside, the walls feature some 12 scratch dials, a total said to be the highest in Rutland. From the outside too, the church illustrates centuries of change. The south wall dates from the 12th century, whilst the base of the tower is from the 14th. The spire was added in the 18th century. There was once a north aisle too, but that's now been demolished. Egleton suffered from the general neglect of the chapelries of Oakham during the time of Thomas Thickpenny, the vicar of Oakham, from 1565 to 1596. There's a saying in these parts, first uttered by Francis Pratt in 1576, who had a marked disdain for the members of the Oakham clergy. Pratt said to Thickpenny that if all covetousness was lost, it would be found in you priests, and in the chancel of Egleton. It's since become a rather infamous saying as they go. So here's what's become of that school. These days, Egleton has no school, and the old building has been turned into this pretty little village hall. As a school, this was provided by a man called George Finch. It was opened in 1867, but children in the village were being taught long before that date. In 1773, a Mrs. Anne Adcock was paid 3 shillings a week by the Finch family for teaching here. Anne would be succeeded by her daughter Charlotte, who was still schoolmistress at the age of 73. Her successor was Harriet Emma Elliot from Markfield in Leicestershire, who lodged with the Gregory family in a cottage known today as No. 5 Church Road. The school closed in 1919, although it did reopen briefly during World War II to cater for both evacuees and Egleton's children. It's now well used once again as the only communal building in the village. Now we have a longish walk to undertake between the old school and the edge of Rutland Water. It's all residential for a bit, so let's fill in a bit more about that name, Finch. Most of the village used to be owned by the Finch family. They came from Burley on the other side of Oakham. George Finch was the 9th Earl of Winchelsea and the 4th Earl of Nottingham. In 1797, Egleton had 24 occupied dwellings, all belonging to the Finch estate, and a further 2 that were uninhabitable and awaiting repairs. Otherwise, there were 4 properties not tied to the estate and 8 that had been demolished a few years previously, 5 of which were Finch related. Most of the Finch buildings survive to this day. A lot have been modernised and some have been extended, and a number of them are now desirable Grade 2 listed residences. Egleton's connection with the Finch estate ended in 1948, when, with the exception of 14 Orchard Close, all of their property in Egleton was sold to the merchant venturers of Bristol. Most of the houses have since been sold again and are now owner-occupied. Since 1948, some new dwellings have also been built as infill, and some old barns have been converted. So I don't know about other countries in the world right now, but the UK is experiencing a little bit of a drought at the moment, and as such quite a lot of our watercourses and such like are running dry. Where I'm standing here, there's supposed to be a stream. I'm on a bridge over what should be a little stream. And if that stream was in water right now, it would be flowing into Rutland Water, which we are very close to the shore of. I'm going to take a left turn here now and go and see what's down there here in Egleton. Our next area sees us turn left and head down towards the shoreline of Rutland Water. 125 years ago, that simply wasn't possible because the reservoir didn't exist. When it flooded the Gwash Valley, the western shoreline reached Egleton, within a safe distance of the village of course. Now, all these fields are underwater. This is the Anglian Water Birdwatching Centre, which, like the church, sits on the cycle path that surrounds Rutland Water. Before the 1970s, this was literally all field and farmland, which was flooded when the Gwash Valley was dammed to form the largest reservoir in the country. Now, as we know, Rutland Water has since become a tourist attraction and even has its own beach at Empingham. In 1975, Anglian Water established a nature reserve at this end of the reservoir. In 1992, this birdwatching centre was officially opened on the old Hambleton Road at the southeastern corner of the village. This, together with the annual bird fair, attracts thousands of visitors from all over the world who all come to watch the wildlife on the water. They can do that in a number of places. Since this opened, some new lagoons have been built closer to the village than the original shoreline of the reservoir. The objective of that scheme was to protect the nature reserve from problems caused by lower water levels when the drawdown of the reservoir is really high. So now there are 3 shallow lagoons, a variety of meadows, some plantation woodland, and of course the reservoir itself. Rutland Water Nature Reserve is regularly voted as the UK's best and one of the prime spots to watch birds anywhere in the UK. From Egleton you can often see rare spring migrants and fishing ospreys in the summer. In the autumn there's a wader passage, and in the winter it sees huge flocks of wildfowl. The shoreline and the lagoons stretch for 9 miles, covering a total area of 1,000 acres. There are over 30 birdwatching hides and nature trails, and this centre has experts helping you with identification. So I figure there's not a lot of point going onto the path around Rutland Water there to show you what the lagoons and such like look like at the moment. The reason being, because when I drove into Egleton this morning, I came around Rutland Water and I could see how low the reservoir level was. The drought is certainly having an effect here in Rutland, and yeah, there's not a lot of water there at the moment. So yeah, it wouldn't look anything like it did when we saw it in Normanton, for example, the episode we did quite a while ago now. So instead, I've just taken a few shots of the Birdwatching Centre, and that should do you, I think. Now we've turned around and we're heading back from whence we came. We're heading towards where there should be a little ford, but I don't think there's much water there either. Our final area concerns the southwestern corner of the village as we walk back along the old Hambleton Road. Again, this is mainly unchanged from the time of this map. Note there's a ford mentioned here that crosses Main Street. We're about to hop over that as we make our way back to the church. It seems though that the ford is no longer here. Here's the stream which still runs through this section of the village, but as you can see there's a bridge now. Between here and the end, it's once again all residential. You'll have noticed there aren't many farms in Egleton. That wasn't always the case. Since the break with the Finches and their Burley estate, the nature of the village has changed dramatically. Though there are still 3 farms here, few residents now work in agriculture. Most earn their living outside the village or have chosen to retire here. Young people have to go elsewhere for their education and to work too. Egleton is a place that sees frequent changes in the lineup of its residents, probably more now than at any time in the village's history. Despite that, Egleton remains a close-knit community with a thriving village life. Many of those who have chosen to come here value the sense of community they find in Egleton. The older listed buildings are treasured by their owners and are a permanent reminder to an increasingly modern village of its agricultural origins. And folks, that's that for Egleton. Tomorrow we'll be staying within touching distance of Rutland Water, but we're heading south to a place that you can't really term a village. It does have quite an interesting past though, all centred around one building in particular. To get to it we have to cross a railway line, one we already know. See you there. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.